Hello and welcome back to the Stay Sure Wellbeing YouTube channel. I'm Dr Dawn Harper and today I'd like to talk to you about how we manage long COVID. Now, for most people who get the coronavirus, they may have no symptoms. Around a third of people, we think, a third of adults who get coronavirus don't actually have any symptoms. And for the majority of otherwise healthy adults, then coronavirus will cause relatively mild symptoms that usually resolve within a week or two. But we are seeing a significant number of people who are developing what we call long COVID. And the kind of symptoms that we're seeing people struggling with are a persisting cough or shortness of breath. Often patients tell me it is utter fatigue, a fatigue that you wouldn't expect after such an illness, or what they call brain fog, people really struggling to concentrate. Now, of course, if you've been very ill in hospital or you spent time in intensive care, then you would probably expect to take several weeks or possibly even months to recover. But a lot of patients with long COVID are those who weren't necessarily in hospital, and they feel very frustrated that actually they're not resolving quickly, and sometimes weeks or months down the line they are still struggling. And I do appreciate that. Often I see patients who perhaps previously were very fit, physically fit, and used to being mentally challenged all the time, and that was their norm, and that's the way they enjoyed being. So they find it hugely frustrating. So if that is you, I'd just like to ask you to allow yourself not to be too tough on yourself. And we talk about managing long COVID as the 3 Ps. We talk about pace, planning, and prioritisation. Now, if you've been somebody who's used to running your life at 100 miles an hour, that might feel quite alien. But believe me, if you allow yourself time to recuperate properly, then you will get better sooner. And just to put your mind at rest, you will get back to being you, even though it is hugely frustrating and perhaps taking longer than you expected. So let's start with the first P, pace. It's really important. I'm a huge believer normally in pushing yourself, whether that be physically or mentally. But if you are struggling with long COVID, it's important that you pace yourself. So you need to recognise the things that make you feel more exhausted. You need to think about the times of the day when perhaps you are feeling more tired, and allow yourself some rest. It's okay to stop for 30 or 40 minutes between activities and just take a break. So allow yourself, pace yourself so that you can then recover. And it is important that you plan. We all have days or weeks where things are busier, and it's important that you recognise how your symptoms tend to develop. So you may be somebody with long COVID who perhaps is better in the mornings than the afternoons, or the other way around. You may find that you really need to sleep in and you feel very slow in the mornings. And if you start to recognise the way your body is recovering, then you can plan your day and your week around whatever it is that you need to do. And just think about your office, your home environment. If you're finding that actually you've got a lot of muscle fatigue and standing, for example, at a standing desk or doing your ironing is really quite a challenge when it would never have been before, then perhaps that's something you should think about trying to do when you're sitting down. If you're finding that moving around is making you feel very short of breath, then try to arrange your day so that you can be in one room wherever possible. So just plan your day a little bit, and please, it's okay to delegate. Be straight with the people around you. It's important that they understand. I think there is an increasing awareness of long COVID, and if you explain to people how you are struggling, they will be there for you and they'll be happy to delegate. As a GP, when I sign you back to work, I can sign you back part-time or with certain amendments to your working week or your working environment. So have a chat with your GP. If you're really keen to get back to work, it may be appropriate to ask your GP for a certificate that would allow you to perhaps just do mornings, or to do half-time, or to perhaps work in a slightly different working environment with reduced duties. So all of those things might help you to plan your recovery so that you still feel that you can do things, but in your own time frame. And the third P is prioritise. We all have loads of things to do. We all have busy in trays, but we don't necessarily have to do all of those things in one go. So make a list of everything that you think you need to do in a day or a week, and then be really honest about the things that you really have to do. And be honest about the things that perhaps somebody else could do for you, and just prioritise the things that must be done. It is really frustrating, I do get it. If you're somebody who's used to being terribly efficient and full of energy, then finding yourself with long COVID can be a real challenge. But you will get better. It's going to take longer perhaps than you'd like it to, but you will get better. I hope that's helped, and I hope that if you have long COVID yourself, or anybody that you know has long COVID, that you find those tips useful and that you allow yourself some time to get back to you. Take care.